It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I had the privilege to interview the Alaska Nanooke head swimming coach, Coach Ksenia Gromova. How are you doing today?
I'm good, doing very good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college swimming?
Mm-hmm. Well, it probably all started when I was a swimmer myself on a college team, and I really enjoyed the time. And when I graduated, I tried to do grad school in science, and it didn't work out because I was missing the pool so much, and I didn't enjoy working in the lab as much as I thought I would. And at some point, I just, kind of got an opportunity to coach. And one of the coaches that knew me from Division 2, we used to compete, our team used to compete against his team. And when I was a prospective student athlete, he also talked to me and he also tried to make me one of the swimmers on his team. But for for a reason, for an English reason, um, because of my TOEFL, I didn't have enough score, so I went to a different school that was able to take me only with SATs, so I didn't go to his school. And then he still recruited me for 4 or 5 years later, but as a graduate assistant coach. So not as a swimmer, but as a graduate assistant coach. So yeah, I think that's how I actually started because um, at the time I was in Russia. Actually, I came back I was there for a year and a half, and he reached out to me and offered me the position of graduate assistant. So, and ever since I've been in college swimming coaching.
Of course, what was that experience like getting to compete in college swimming and getting to compete in Russia?
You mean the difference?
Hmm.
The difference is it's noticeable. The difference is very big. There is no collegiate athletics in Russia. So, like, if I were to look for a job just like mine here, I would not find it. Like, there wouldn't be there wouldn't be a swim coach at a particular university. Um, so we don't have collegiate athletics. Mostly when you train and if you're in sports, you're mostly affiliated with clubs or sports schools. Like it can be sports school, or it can be, we call them Olympic Reserve Sports School. There can be sports school for kids and teenagers. Well, they can have different names, but it's essentially just a facility that has facilities for several sports, and kids just go there like after school and they practice there. um, or it can be a club. So, and if you are an athlete, that's how you train. Like you can't, like you don't have um, high schools or universities, they don't have pools, like they don't have these facilities. And you can't like there's no such thing to compete. Like if you want to compete, like high schools compete against each other, or universities, colleges, um it's not there, there's no such thing. So, and it makes everything different. So I think how it's organized in the United States, that high schools always have facilities, swim teams, colleges have swim teams competing against each other. I think um, it actually makes people do sports from, from childhood, and a lot of people do sports early and a lot, and they try different sports because it's so accessible, it's so easy. It's right there. You have the facility, you have the coaches, you have all the resources. So it's much easier to try maybe different sports and kind of stick with the one that you like the most. But it's very cool to see how in the States kids try so many sports when they're growing up versus, I would say, in Russia, you probably, like, you try one sport and you might stick with it, or you try another sport, but it's really hard to do several sports at the same time. Like, you know, so yeah, you might try one and if it doesn't work, you can try another one later, but it's really hard to do it at the same time.
What was
So
your
I think,
what was your
yeah.
experience like, obviously getting to coach on the Russian national team?
So I did have a privilege to participate coaching a few athletes. They're open water swimmers. That when they were around 14 years old, I used to coach them when they were kids between 13 and 16. They were at this age. And of course, back then they were not fast or known or anything. Uh, and then when I left, when I went to the States, they kept training and they started getting better and better. They grew up. They started doing really well at European championships, world championships. And when I had that window, when I went back to Russia in 2014, I actually got an opportunity to help coaching them, like be an assistant for a little bit when I was there. And then I came back in 2015. So to this day, one of them is still swimming, one of them is still competing. His name is Kirill Abrosimov. So he actually just had a baby. It's so cute. So yeah, we keep in touch sometimes, and he was one of my references for when I was applying for green card. So um so he helped me. It was interesting because we didn't make, I mean, I never saw it as a big deal, like, because he he is part of national team. And when I don't know, when I was coaching them, when I was there in 2014-15, it was just, I don't know, very routine. My coach who coached me when I lived in Russia, she was coaching him and I was helping, just learning, observing. um, yeah, I think even right now, I think distance and mid distance is probably my strongest, I would say. That's why when I went to Michigan, I was really glad I was working with sprint because I felt like I need a lot of learning in that area, in that little field. So, but yeah, it was very comforting because, I got to work with my coach who used to coach me. And I used to coach the guys that I used to coach when they were little. So it was all sorts of feelings, but when you go to the process, you kind of get into that. So always not enough, to kind of sit back and appreciate what you have. But it was a great time.
What was your experience like getting into college coaching and first becoming a grad assistant?
Um, you mean after grad assistantship or when I started being a grad assistant?
When you started?
Um, I the only new thing for me was college swimming is different, but I was a swimmer for 4 years, so I somewhat knew how it works. My first degree actually from Russia was actually in sports science. So I didn't feel like I don't know anything and I have to learn so much. I mean, I still thought that I need to learn a lot. We always learn. I always want to learn something new. I'm always open to learn something new, to pick up, a couple of new drills, or how can we combine equipment differently, what the benefits would be and stuff like that. Of course, I'm always up for it, but I felt like I had a really good background because my first degree is in sports science, and I studied actually biology and chemistry here in the States. And I thought that, it gave me a lot of good background. When I studied in Russia, I always did a research in physiology, sports physiology. I was actually doing research. Um, it was based on women physiology. We did a research with women, with my mentor who I was working with. So I did do a lot of physiology research. So yeah, I didn't feel like I was thrown into something that is completely new to me. I did coach when I was in Russia, as I mentioned, with the kids, 13, 14. Sometimes I worked with younger kids, but of course I preferred older kids because I actually wanted to coach them versus, teaching them how to swim. So yeah, even when I do camps, I always ask if I can work with older kids. So it was, it was good. When I worked as a graduate assistant, we um, we had I think we had two graduate assistants, and we were trying to help as much as we could. We only had 20 hours a week to work with the team, but of course when we traveled, it was we would spend a lot of time with the team. So, and I can say that I learned a lot because, it was my very first college coaching experience. So I've learned a few things when I started. Yeah.
What was that experience like going to Lindenwood to become the head coach there?
Oh yeah, it was pretty crazy. Um, so I was offered to be an assistant at first, and then I knew the guy who was hired for head coaching position, and I reached out. Well, he was trying to bring me there to be an assistant, and at that time I kind of wanted to stay in Texas, and then he kept convincing me, and then he told me that he might be leaving because he actually got a different offer in a different country, like not even in the States. And he said that he was considering to take it. And yeah, it just turned out that instead of an assistant, I had to become a head coach because I came as an assistant first, and probably in a couple of weeks, well, I was an interim head coach for a couple of weeks, and then I was hired as a head coach. And that's a pretty crazy experience. I love it. I loved every single second of it. I knew that I was thrown into a crazy swirling, it was like, I don't know. It was a lot. It was a lot to take. It was a lot to do. And that was the time when I realized how much more I should have appreciated my coach when I was a swimmer in college. Because sometimes this and that, like during swim meets or practices, sometimes we would kind of complain about things or something, like, if we are like not happy about something or whatnot. But when I started being head coach, I was like, oh my God, like I had no idea how much they have to do. Like I had no idea. I was thrown into, all that all by myself. I didn't even have an assistant. I didn't have anybody. I was just all by myself. And honestly, I really loved it. Like the first year, it's just you learn so fast. Like when you have to do it all by yourself, you just don't have choice. You don't have a choice. You have to learn fast. You have to act fast. You have to adjust. You have to be flexible. It just showed me that I react really well in like emergency situations or in situations where you have to act fast, where you have to think fast. And I would say that it was a good experience for me, and I learned a lot about myself as well. And yeah, everything, recruiting, fundraising, community outreach. We were doing a lot of community outreach hours, fundraising. Yeah, it was so much, and the practices and running practices. But to be fair, I gotta say that the team that I ended up, with those 2 years, when I was like the first year, the second year, the first year team was, I inherited it. Like, whoever was on the team, they became, my swimmers. But the second year, I brought a lot of new swimmers the second year when I was with them. And both years it was amazing. The team was very diverse. We had swimmers from the States, we had swimmers from other countries. It was also a co-ed team, men and women. It was very diverse, and I think it was great. I think it was very helpful because they were very independent, like all of them on the team. Like internationals were learning something from American kids were learning something from international kids. And I think that, having both genders on the team also balances the team out as well. And it was, I want to say it was easy. They made it easy for me because, we had captains, whenever they needed to, they would step up and they would help. And it was great. One of my best experiences in coaching, honestly, when I was head coach with Lindenwood. I know that I was, thrown into all that crazy stuff like right away after being a grad assistant, but I learned so much, and it's gonna forever stay with me because of the conditions that, I was learning it in fast and, so
Of course, during
I
your time at Lindenwood, what were some of your biggest coaching accomplishments as the head coach?
probably winning conference, Mid-South, um, and my second year with them. So I think the year before I started with them, the men's team, they finished fifth at nationals, NIA nationals. And by the end of my second year with them, the men's team actually was on the podium. Like they got third. They were third that year, and that's probably, very big. Like it was amazing. I mean, everything was, winning conference, getting third at nationals, having national champions, like coaching, coaching kids for 2 years to make them, win nationals. The long distance swimmer that I coached my first year, he won a mile and 500. And it was his first, I mean, it was his third year of college swimming, and it was his first year to win the title. So, and he won the mile the next year as well. And my second year, I recruited a kid from Germany, and it was a little it was a crazy experience because he had so much potential, but he didn't train as hard as well, he probably trained hard, but at practices he wouldn't go fast. Like he wouldn't show like fast results. So I did not know what to expect at swim meets. And he ended up winning 200 freestyle at nationals. So that was also a little crazy because when I recruited him, I knew his times, and he had a lot of potential. But in training it was very hard to tell. But yeah, but
Was
he ended up
how was that
winning.
transition like going from being a head coach at Lindenwood to going to Michigan to become the volunteer assistant?
um that transition was in between. I also got an assistant coaching job at Division 1. That was a school in Pittsburgh also, and I was there for a little bit. So I would say going back to being an assistant after being a head coach is a little tough. It's quite hard, but not in terms of that, oh my God, well, I can't make any decisions now because I'm an assistant. Not in these terms, but um, in terms of learning. You want to go back to learning, because for 2 years when I was a head coach, I had to make so many decisions. I had to lead the team for 2 years. There's like no break. You have no break. You have to like lead the torch. Like you have to hold the torch, lead the team all the time. And here I got a little break. I became an assistant coach, and the hard part was a little bit to not overstep, because when you start getting used to making decisions quickly all the time, and you have to act in situations, and you have to act fast, and you have to make decisions fast. So when you become an assistant coach again instead of a head coach, you kind of have to watch that and try to not overstep, try to not make decisions before you talk to the head coach, and discuss things with the head coach. So that was a little bit tough. That was a little difficult. But at the same time, I absolutely knew what I was getting myself into. And I knew that, there's a difference. And so yeah, kind of going into that, you got to remember that, and okay, well, now my responsibilities are a little different, and I have to behave and act accordingly. But at the same time, it was a little bit liberating, because you don't have all the responsibilities on you now. The responsibilities are all on the head coach. So now you can breathe a little bit and relax a little bit. So, and mostly just, follow the lead, and kind of accomplish the tasks that you are given, not more than that. So so yeah, it was kind of both. It was hard, but at the same time it was easier because there was less responsibilities.
How was that
Yeah.
experience like going to a Power 5 school like Michigan and learning under their program so it will help you when you became the head coach?
Yeah, it was definitely a really big highlight of my time in swimming in general. I would say that every time I got to either swim with or coach with, um, big and known coaches out there, um, all the time, it's kind of like a highlight for me. And I always remember these times. Um, it started when I actually, swam with USC one summer with Dave Sala, and I thought it was, a highlight of my time in swimming. And then I got to coach with um, Steve Bowman and at Texas A&M. I was doing camps with them, and that was also a highlight. So yeah, so coaching with Mike Bottom and his coaching staff at Michigan was definitely one of my biggest highlights. And of course, it was longer than the previous experiences with very known and acknowledged coaches. So lots of learning for sure. I learned a lot, and it doesn't only include technique and drills and all that stuff. Like I learned so much just in like hierarchy, organization, communication, attitude, behavior, how coaches are with each other, best ways to communicate, how it's all organized when when you have so many coaches, because we had 5 coaches, and I had never coached in any team with so many coaches, and of course it was something new to me, and lots of learning how it all works, how they organize everything, how everything like little pieces of one big mechanism, how it all works. And of course I got to work with Mike with a sprint group, and I learned a ton. I learned so much. A lot of different pointers, technique wise. I learned a lot of new drills, equipment usage, like combination of equipment, what you can use this with this, or like if you use this and this, then it makes you do that and stuff like that. It's just kind of like this little things, and how he communicates with the swimmers, his approach. So yeah, it was a lot of learning, and I loved my time there. I mean, at some point I hope that I could stay I could stay around, because I really liked it. I would say that it's quite hard for my personality to like I knew I always wanted to be a head coach, and I feel like for my personality it works really well. And I would say it's somewhat a little harder for me to be an assistant coach. But of course, when you want to grow, you understand that you're going to be an assistant coach and you're going to be learning. But yeah, but after I worked, because when I worked as an assistant in previous school in Division 1, I was absolutely sure that I don't want to be an assistant. I want to be a head coach, and I want to lead the team. And I had such a great time when I was a head coach. But I did go back to being an assistant because I want more out of myself. I wanted more learning. I wanted more knowledge. I wanted more experience. But coaching with Michigan, working there, I felt so, motivated. I felt motivated, and I was an assistant. I was one of the assistants. I was actually a volunteer assistant. So, and how much respect they have for each other, the coaches, how they treat each other, how they communicate, how they lift you up, how they motivate you, how they talk to you. It's just so wow. It was just so motivating and so liberating, and it was just I enjoyed all like the whole time when I was there. And yeah, it was one of the best coaching group that I've ever experienced. So, and yeah, so I was kind of hoping to stay, maybe. Like I didn't know how it would work, but I mean it didn't. So, but secretly I was kind of hoping that maybe I'll be able to. um but yeah, but nothing was opening, nobody was leaving. They were not looking for an assistant coach. Even though a year later we found out, I mean, they now they allow to pay the volunteer assistants. So a year later. But I don't regret. I got a really, really good job after working with Michigan, and Michigan gave me a lot, a lot, a lot. Just, it's education, experience, lots of education actually, just in 1 year. So, and yeah, and I landed this job, so I'm pretty happy about it. And I think, yeah, I think being a head coach, that's where I thrive. And I think that it fits my personality really well. And I actually learned it when I was a head coach with Lindenwood. So it kind of brings the best out of me. And I think it's, it's good.
What was that
So
transition like from going from Michigan, where you were a volunteer, to now coming to Alaska, Ridge,
mhm.
and becoming the head coach?
Okay. Um, it was the biggest difficulty was just to move here, honestly. Everything else was very smooth and very easy. I came for a visit here. I actually, applied to many places, and I just started doing interviews, and one of the interviews was with Alaska. And after the interview, they offered me the job within like 3 days. So, and it was very fast. And I asked if I could come and visit and kind of like, see it first before moving. And they booked me a ticket right away. And I was on my way in a couple of days. So I came here, I mean, the nature was just wow. It was just, amazing. It was in the summer. It was June, and the people that I met at the athletic department, and um, the athletic director, like the assistant coach who would be my assistant coach, she was participating in um, the interviews, like running the interviews. Um, so I met her. I met a lot of people from the department, and I just loved it. It was very laid back, very respectful, very just easy. At this point, before, I had different criterias. I always, I thought I always wanted to work at a very highly ranked school, like, like Power Five, like, very cool program, like up there, preferably in good location, with like a city or something. So, but then when I worked, in collegiate swimming for like college athletics for 5, 7 years, the criteria is completely changed. They changed completely. And the first criteria, the first, requirement was just good working environment. Number one, it was the good working setup, great people. Like, you want good people around you, because you realize, oh my God, you spend so much time at work, and with these people you spend so much time. So you definitely want surround yourself with, great people, who are gonna lift you up instead of the opposite, instead of like, I don't know, like micromanaging you or something, or like constantly telling you what to do. And it's just, people who have good approach, who can communicate. I mean, they're all gonna have to tell you, like, oh well, maybe we should do something different here, or something different there, or let's try something here. But the difference is in the approach that, everybody uses, because you can say the same thing in completely different ways. And yeah, and you come to realization that it's one of the first things you want to look for. And then, yeah, and then you look at everything else, and then you look at school, location, salary. Of course, it has to be important as well. Yeah, I mean, after working as assistant, as a volunteer, where you don't make any. Of course, you want a salary, like you want a good salary when you look for a job, and you don't want to sell yourself short. So, and all these things are very important, because when you're actually growing, and when you're learning and gaining all this experience, and you don't think about money, you don't think, oh well, it's not a lot of money, but it's okay. I'm an assistant coach. I'm here to learn, and I'm a volunteer coach. I'm not getting any. That's okay, because I'm learning. So, and then you come to the point that, oh my God, like I've learned so much. I want to use it. I want to apply it. I've I've been working on myself for all these years, like all these experiences, all these knowledges that you've been collecting. You want to use it, you want to apply it, and then you understand, wow, like, I'm worth more than this. Like, I want a good salary and stuff like that. So it's just that's the things that you come to realize when you start looking for a position where you can potentially stay longer than a year or two. So, and I think that's what I found here. And I absolutely love the location, and I like the people that I work with, and I like the team. So the transition, I would say, was only hard because of the moving, because it's so far. I didn't drive here. I opted out, even though I considered, but I decided to sell everything, fly, and buy stuff here, because it's just way too long of a drive. So.
Of course, what was that feeling like the first time you got to step onto the pool deck as the head coach for Alaska?
It was exciting. It was very exciting. I don't have a lot of experience working with only female team. I did work with that Division 1 school. It was only female team, and it was a little difficult because I don't think we had any internationals either on the team, because I'm a big fan of diversity, and any kind of diversity, and different cultures, different nationalities, genders, etc. Like I am for up like I'm a big fan of diversity. So and I was excited, but at the same time I was a little nervous, because it's only female team and I don't have a lot of experience. But we've been figuring out really good ways to build the team back up. This is our goal number one, because the team, after they had like the coach who stayed here for 18 years, after he left, they have been struggling finding a coach who would stay, and they kind of rotated a couple of coaches. And a year ago, before I came, Kelsey, who is my assistant right now, she was all by herself. And before that, they had two other coaches who also didn't stay. So right now, the goal number one for us, for the team, is to give them this feeling of stability, reliability, unity, like, kind of unite the team together, and together with the coaches, because when you have so many rotations, like when so many coaches come and go, well, not so many, but a few, like I feel like they stop trusting, like they stop believing that somebody would actually care for them and come and stay for them. And so yeah, I would say that this is the work in progress that we are doing right now. You know, making the team unite and come together, and like start trusting and start opening up more, and feel stability more, rather than being like, is she gonna leave? Are they gonna, find somebody else? And kind of like sitting on the bomb and waiting that, oh my God, there's gonna be another change or something, because they've been going through that. Especially juniors, the ones that or seniors, the ones that are staying on the team the longest. So yeah, this is our priority right now, for the girls to feel, to feel loved and cared for, and yeah,
Of course,
just
as
kind
a
of.
head coach, what has that been like? Obviously, only coaching the women versus having both the men and the women on the swim team.
Yeah, there is definitely a big difference. I know that there's so much right now about tolerance and genders and everything, and it's such a delicate subject, so very sensitive, very sensitive subject. But you can't take it away. I mean, they are different, and no matter how we try to equal everybody out and equal all the genders, like male versus female, um, experience shows that it's different. And communicating with the team, when you have only female versus co-ed, it's just different, and you can't not acknowledge it. Like, it's there, and you have to adjust to it. You have to figure it out. You have to find different approaches. And co-ed versus only women team is a little bit easier to handle in terms of it was a little easier for me, because coming from a different culture and having different mentality, that was easier, because well, Russians are very straightforward and very blunt sometimes, and that's the stuff that doesn't always work with female team. Like, only women, when you have only women, you have to have different approach. You have to be more sensitive. You have to be more understanding. You have to be more of a parent, rather than just an adult, right? So, but when you work with co-ed, you can talk to them more as an adult, more as a more straightforward, more like it's not as sensitive, like. And it's strange, because there's still women on the team, right? It's not only men, or it's not, it's co-ed. So, but I don't know, for some reason, it's how I don't know. It's just, that's how it works. And so yeah, working with the girls this year, I had to do a lot of adjustments and a lot of learning with them, and it was a huge learning curve. And especially with the girls who have been through, so many rotations, so many coaches rotations, and they're vulnerable, they're sensitive, they are not trusting, which they're totally entitled to do, because when you have coaches changing like 3 years in a row, of course it's tough. It gets very difficult. So our goal right now is to keep finding that balance in communication, keep finding that approach, and also finding individual approach for all of them, because they're still a little bit different and they still respond a little bit differently. But when you talk to all of them together, you have to remember that it's a little different, and you need to be more understanding and more accepting, and more nurturing. But yeah,
What does
it's
a,
work in progress.
what does a typical swim meet look like for you as a head coach versus for your swimmers?
What an interesting question. So how it is for me and how it's for them? I think we're both in the same boat. We are we're there to, you know, to have fun, improve, work hard, communicate. It's I wouldn't say that it's as crazy for me right now as it was when I was in Lindenwood, the swim meets. It's definitely way easier right now because I've done all the learning and I've done all that first time head coaching craziness. And also I have an assistant here who can help and who has been doing it for a while too. So it's way easier. It's much easier than it used to be. And I enjoy swim meets. I enjoy hosting. We enjoy traveling when we travel for our swim meets. Any swim meets that we have would be we would fly. If we're going somewhere for a swim meet, it would be definitely flying. So this year, our first one actually going to be in Seattle. We're gonna fly to Seattle. So it's, I don't know, it's always fun. You know, they hang out. There's a lot of team bonding. They do a lot of activities. Sometimes we do something together. Sometimes they do something on their own. We communicate with them a lot. They are, you know, they're fun. They're fun girls. They behave very openly. They, you know, they welcome you. They joke with you. They make you feel, you know, like you belong. Even though I know that deep inside it's really hard for them because, you know, because of everything that they've been through. And me understanding that and them seeing that I try my best and I try hard to understand them, I think it bonds us really well. And we had, you know, a rough first year because all the changes again, you know, new changes, new coach, new practices, new approach, everything is new again. So it's of course, you know, really hard for them. But you know, because of it piling up like this, I understand how tough it can be on them. And when they get upset or they get you know, stressed about something, it's completely understandable. And we just try to do our best to accommodate and give them any help and support they need. And yeah, and mental health is also a big one that we're working on. So yeah, they love swim meets. They love swim meets in California because when we go to those swim meets, especially when we go to Santa Barbara, we go to the beach because we're done our second day. We're done early. We have an early swim meet that day, and we're done early, maybe like 11 or 12, and we have a whole day before we have to fly. So we actually, you know, go and do things. And last time we went to the beach and they swam. I don't know how they do that because the water is like really cold. It was end of October when we went there and they still got in the water, and people passing by, they were shocked. They were like, oh, what's going on? And we're like, well, they're from a lot of them are from Alaska, so it's pretty warm for them, so it should be fine. But we also went to this mission Santa Barbara, and it's, you know, did some education, did some like audio tours, did some like, you know, team bonding there, learning, and yeah, it was very enjoyable. I enjoy every minute with them, you know, even when things are not the best, when if, you know, if there are things that we need to work on, we need to communicate, we need to figure things out. I still love it. I still want to be there. I still want to be here. I still want to be there supporting them and helping them. So because I understand, how tough it can be, when you're like switching coaches every year. It's just, you know, you can only imagine how tough it can get for the girls. So, and we're trying to give them as much as we can to have them, lift them up and keep them floating in the right direction.
Of
So,
course,
yeah.
who are some of the teams that you compete against each week?
Say it again.
Who are some of the different teams that you compete against in your competitions?
Yeah. So last year was a little different from this year, but we have the same teams coming up here. It's going to be Azusa Pacific. They are in our conference. And we also have Westmont College coming. They're also in our conference. And this year, they didn't come last year, but they're coming this year. It's East Bay, California. They're also in our conference. And trying to remember if we have anybody else. I think in January we have a team coming, but they're not in our conference. Western Colorado, they're coming here in January, and it was kind of random. They reached out to us and they told us that they would like to, come and compete, and it was interesting. And that was it. I think we maxed it out. We maxed out on the teams that we can bring here. And I think it's 4 teams are coming because we had 2 other teams that actually 3 other teams who really, really wanted to come as well. But we already scheduled everything. So, but yeah, maybe next year we told them that, maybe we but it's it's surprising how teams how many teams want to. I mean, of course, people want to come down here and experience, especially in the winter when we have a show every night. So northern lights, and hot springs and stuff. Those are like the most popular activities when the teams come here in the winter. Probably Northern Lights, watching Northern Lights and going to hot springs. So it's very so we invite these teams over and we help them a little bit. We provide them hotels, and we give them a little bit try to give them a little bit help, but at the same time we want them to collaborate with us and maybe help us next time when we come to visit them and compete against them, maybe like a free hotel, like free stay and stuff like that. Like for example, this year, like San Diego State University, they came here a couple years ago to compete, and now we're coming to San Diego State for our winter training in January, free of charge. We're gonna use their facility, pool and gym. So we were able to organize that because a couple years ago they came to compete, and I wasn't here back then, but they were helped a little bit, it's kind of like a game guarantee thing, and kind of like in collaboration, they were able to organize it for us this season that we could come and use their facility.
What does that recruitment process look like for prospective swimmers looking to compete on the collegiate level?
Yeah, so it actually, we are not short on recruits. There are a lot of requests. We're getting a lot of emails. We're getting a lot of questionnaires filled out on ARMS, for prospective student athletes. But I would say we're working both ways. We are also proactive, and we also reach out to prospective student athletes. I go through profiles and I see look at their profiles, look at their GPAs, look at their times, and I try to reach out to them. Mostly I want to do it for diversity because a lot of emails we're getting from domestic kids, Alaska and lower 48, other United States. But this year we're bringing 2 international swimmers, one from England and one from Hungary. And I think it's important. It's important to have some diversity on the team. And for that reason, I think it's very important to do also proactive recruiting and reach out to agents and look for swimmers. And besides just, getting requests and getting emails and answering emails with potential student athletes. Yeah, I want to say that I am trying to bring recruiting to next level and bring, fast swimmers. When they had a previous coach, the team was quite strong, and they had, actually, I have a picture right here, very randomly. They, they used to go to nationals all the time. They had, people swimming in finals. That was the national champion that Alaska had, and I think she was the only one national champion. But yeah, but right now I want to bring recruiting, do better job recruiting, better job training, coaching. And I think, slowly but surely we're going to start going to nationals. We're going to start having girls swimming in BC finals, and then slowly but surely A finals, kind of, that's the goal. So, and I believe that recruiting is very important for that, and to do a good job recruiting is very important.
What does an official visit look like when those prospective student athletes come to Alaska?
Say it again.
What does that official visit look like when those prospective swimmers come to Alaska to visit your facility?
Yeah, it's a regular process. They come for 2 days. If it's an official visit, depending on the prospective student athletes, if we're very interested, if it's a very great candidate, we could cover everything, or we can negotiate and see what they can cover and like what we could cover. And yeah, they would be here for 2 days. We would show them around. If it's not during summer, if it's during the season, we would take them to hockey game. We could take them, I mean, there's a lot going on in the winter. We could take them curling. People absolutely love it, because where else are you gonna find a curling club and curl right next to, an Olympic curler? So there is an Olympic athlete training at a curling club in Fairbanks. So yeah, they could stay, they could stay in the hotel, they could stay with the girls. It's, pretty standard drill if we have somebody coming down for an official visit. But I would say that when they come here and they see all the nature and they see the how this place is unique, how unique this place is, and they meet the girls and just, they do a couple of activities, and you would want to stay, you would want to be here. So that's what happened to me. I came for a visit. I wasn't sure. I was like, I cannot take this job without a visit. It's a little, not a little, it's a lot different. So I wanted to see it, for myself. And I came, I saw, I tried, I loved it, I moved, haven't regretted.
Of course,
So.
as a head coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen put on that swimsuit for the first time and represent Fairbanks versus your seniors putting it on for the last time?
Um, it's a hard question because I haven't been here long enough, and I mean, definitely some of them leaving, like some of the seniors leaving this year was sad for me because, there are some great girls and I wish I could have more time with them. And it was very sad because I was like, oh man, we were just getting started. We were just, we were just getting at it. And now they have to leave. It was a little tough. But I think I would need to be here a little longer to fully fully immerse into all that, sensitive um or not sensitive. What's the word I'm looking for? That nostalgic some feeling like when you feel like, oh yeah, like you spent 4 years with them and now they're leaving. So, and I mean, I definitely I definitely get emotional. So I I'm very excited about seeing our freshmen coming in this year and working with them. And some of the girls will be graduating, and I I wish a couple of them, stayed a little longer because one of them will be graduating, and she had a year when she didn't compete because of injuries, and I wish she could compete longer and use all of her 4 years. But I don't think she wants to do school anymore. She wants to graduate. But we'll see. Maybe we'll convince her. Maybe. Maybe we can convince her to stay for grad school 1 more year. So yeah, it's I think it's exciting to meet the freshmen and, start working with them and see the potential and like, what can we do? So,
Of course, as a head coach, what is that feeling like seeing those student athletes that are swimmers go on and compete for the national level, whether it's US, Canada, or for another country?
you mean our swimmers?
Hmm.
We don't have anybody competing internationally or on the national level right now. So we are getting there. We're getting up there. We're working on it. That's, that's our goal. Of course, we want to get there, get that ambition out for sure. But as of now, we don't have anybody competing internationally or on the national level. But we will get there.
What are your
We,
what are some
I,
of your future plans in the program moving forward?
yeah, lots of plans, lots of plans. The little ones, the ones that we want to work on right now, it's probably organizing some fundraising, and we're probably going to start swim lessons program because Fairbanks doesn't have a lot to offer in this niche, and this niche is kind of, um, empty, not filled. So we want to start a program of swim lessons, and through that we want to do fundraising. We want to fundraise money, and it would be both. It would be community outreach and fundraising. Um, that's that's one of the first things for the upcoming year for the season. And overall, just keep working on coaching these girls, working with them in and out of the pool, our favorite phrase, in and out of the pool, helping them, supporting them, um, just giving them everything we can. And recruiting, yeah, bringing recruiting to higher levels, bringing talented kids, fast swimmers, smart. We're also looking at GPA. We also want to bring smart people here. It's a research school. It's a school that is big on research, lots of biology, marine biology, oceanography, lots of research. Um, yeah, those are the goals, and I think the most important is their well-being. You know, it's not goal number one probably, just keeping them happy, um, keeping them well. So that's probably, yeah, those are the main ones. Yeah.
What advice would you give those freshmen entering their first year of collegiate swimming?
What is it? Say it again.
What advice would you give those freshmen entering their first year of collegiate swimming?
Advice, yeah. Before they start or after they start?
Before.
Before. Um, well, if they've already found a school, they already found a team where they're going, I would probably advise to stay in shape and learn about school, learn about the location. Something that you can do on your free time, like what the city or what the town has to offer, what you could do there. Maybe find something that you could do, like depending on your hobbies, depending on what you like to do in the free time. But if they haven't found school yet, I would advise, when they look for a school, I would advise to probably look at different options and not get hung up on prestigious teams, like faster teams, like highly ranked teams, because it's easy to do that. It's tempting. It's something up there, and that's a lot of people want to do, but it's not always right. It's not always the um, place that you would choose to stay, or place you would choose to be. And I would say that finding the right team, like finding the right people around you, is way more important than chasing after anything else, after um, ranks or prestige or something like that. I would say the most important part is the relationship that you make with people, and meeting maybe it can be Skype or Zoom or WhatsApp. But yeah, meeting coaches and meeting some of the teammates, I think it's very important. And if it's doable, then recruits should do it probably, or prospective student athletes, or incoming freshmen. It's something that is very important, and you're going to spend 4 years with this team, with these people, and it's probably a good idea to talk to a couple of them. So yeah, and it depends also on the what they are looking for. Like, I would advise to listen to themselves and um, pay close attention to what they want to do and what they want versus what they're told. Whatever they're told by parents, friends, coaches, or anybody, or like their club coaches or high school coaches. I mean, they probably should take, or listen to their advice, but I would still choose a school that fits my interests the most, and I would listen to myself first before I listen to anybody else. And this is probably the best way to go, because when you make a decision based on your choice and nobody else's, you take full responsibility for it. If you like it, if you don't like it, if it's your choice, it's your responsibility. You will not be able to blame anybody, just yourself, and take responsibility for your own actions, and either have the best time of your life or find something else. But I would say that most of the time, when you go with your gut and you feel like you would be happy in the school, then that's how it's going to go. So
What advice would you give those seniors that are looking to go swim for the national team after collegiately, whether it's Team USA or Canada, or represent another country?
I would say go for it, definitely, because if you don't, you might regret it later. If you have the opportunity, if you have the energy and you're motivated, then you should use it. You should go for it for sure. I would say yes. I myself competed a little bit professionally after. I swam for a club in Brazil, and I loved it. I'm glad I did it. Um, I don't want to be sad that I didn't do it longer, but a couple times that I swam, I absolutely loved it. And if I don't know, if I had an opportunity to do it longer, I would have loved to do it longer. So it's just, I mean, you have the opportunity to use it. Opportunity comes your way, you gotta use it. We have a saying in Russian that if something kind comes your way, don't look for something kind. It's kind of like you already have the opportunity. Why are you looking for another opportunity? So, yeah.
What advice would you give those collegiate swimmers looking to get into college coaching after their swimming career?
Well, I like it. I would say if it's their passion, they should go for it. They should go for it. It can get a little tough because, when you work as an assistant, especially if it's your first position, if it's your first job, it can be really tough to make it because salaries that assistant coaches get is just a joke. Like some of them are just so low, and coming from another country that, I mean, I want to say that doesn't have as developed field of collegiate athletics as in the States. So coming from a different country and seeing that, how developed this field is, like collegiate athletics, and seeing, how how much money an assistant would make, like in a Division II university, like I still can't believe it. Like it's just what in the States, really? Just it's I don't want to. It's a different topic for sure. But if it's your passion, I would say do it. It will get better. It will definitely get better. You will learn, you will experience, and soon enough you will be getting other jobs with better offers and yeah, something something rewarding or something more rewarding. So
What advice would you give those head coaches looking to build their own program and build their own legacy in college swimming?
what I would say about them, or what?
What advice would you give head coaches looking to start in college swimming?
Um, wow, that's a tough one. I mean, it's hard, like starting a program, you said.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard, but if they think they can do it, then it should happen. It's always, if you have passion for something and you want to try something, then it's better to give it a go, better to give it a try than not try anything, for sure. Even if it fails, like even if it doesn't happen, like it doesn't go anywhere, but you will know you tried, and maybe you will want to try again. Maybe you will try the third time, and maybe it will work the third time or something. It's just always, if you want to try something and you have the opportunity to do so, then it should happen. If you're passionate about something, most likely it's going to work. Most likely it's going to work out. If you're passionate, if you're putting your time, energy, and everything into that, then most likely it would work.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Alaska Swimming Program app?
My Instagram, you mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, my Instagram is very interesting. So my last name in Russian means thunder. Like if you translate it translates as thunder. And I don't know how the other part came along, but it's thunder therapy, just straight thunder therapy. Maybe I was going for a tongue twister, huh? I don't know. But But yeah, not a lot of people know actually that my last name translates as thunder, so which is cool.
Thank you again, Coach Kins, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with Alaska Nanooke as the head swimming coach.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Brendan.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you, you too. Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.